The Maine Electric Ratepayer Advisory Council says approximately 100,000 households in the state struggle to pay their energy bills. In its latest report released on Sunday, the council said electricity rates in Maine are twice the national average, and low-income ratepayers spend around 8% of their household income on electricity alone, which is double the 4% maximum recommended by consumer experts. According to the council, the difference between what electricity costs in Maine and what low-income customers can afford is estimated to be $85 million per year. The council is urging the Maine legislature to expand the low-income assistance program to provide larger benefits to more low-income households, as well as increase outreach to teach Mainers how to be more efficient with their electricity use and cut costs. This story comes to us from our media partners, Maine's Total Coverage.